Hey, Derek from ForeGolf Custom, and today this is a customer request video. So big thank you to Kevin and Sean who reached out to me to say, hey, really loved your video. Any chance you could do a video on fairway woods? So today we're going to do a review of the TaylorMade Qi35 range of fairway woods. I also quickly want to say big thanks to Kevin Hayes, 1975. He left a lovely comment about how much he's enjoying the videos and that it's the best he's seen on YouTube. So this information is a fitting style of video, right? So this is my interpretation and how I'm fitting the different club heads, technologies, brands, models, whatever it is. But ultimately this is information for you. And so what I want you to do is, if you think there's a video that's lacking or that isn't been done out there, why don't you stick it in the comments below? Give me a request for videos. Maybe it's about the different models, maybe it's about the tech, maybe it's about shafts, whatever it is, custom fitting related. Stick them in the comments below and we'll shoot that video for you and get you the information you're looking for. Right, let's start. Qi35 fairway woods. This was a huge hit for us. The Qi10 last year, the max head was a massive fairway wood for us. Why? Well, it was because of the way that it actually uses the CG to get the ball to fly. So this year, the Qi35 has 3 heads. We're going to start with the first one, the max head. All right, what am I doing with this club head? Well, this year, thankfully, it's coming with an adjustable hosel, which it didn't have last season. So this is really good for me because not only has it got the weight at the back, which helps me with lowering and deepening the CG, it's got a very low profile club head. This is a club that I'm using when I'm trying to get the ball to fly. So if the fairway wood player is struggling to get the ball into the air, if it's one of those golfers that comes into me and says, I can't hit fairway woods, this is my go-to. When I move the weight to the back and low down, it creates a higher launch parameter. It means that the 3 wood in this range is really easy to get airborne. Coupled with the fact that we now have adjustability in the 3 and 5 wood, and I'm going to explain why it's not in the 7 and 9 in a minute, means that I can now adapt the club head. So usually what happens is when the loft gets lower, and if there's an issue in relation to path of swing, or miss to the right or miss to the left, we were kind of snookered because we hadn't got really any adjustability in this club head. Now we do. It's one of the few clubs we can actually open a little bit. Now it does lower the loft a little bit, but it means that I can change the face angle to suit my initial path in and then tie the shaft into that particular head. It has adjustability in the 3 and 5 wood because usually when you get to the 7 and 9 woods, because of the loft on there, the actual adaptability or adjustability in the head doesn't have as much an effect on the club heads. This is a real winner for us. This club is going to be really good. And if you're a golfer that's thinking about changing fairway woods, who struggles with fairway woods, these are really good for easy to get up off the ground. If you're struggling with getting the ball to fly, really simple. Go into the 5 wood. Adapt the club head then with the hosel to a little bit more higher. It will close the face a little bit, but it will help the ball to launch. The 7 and 9 are absolute go-tos if you want a fairway wood that gets it up and out and far. Also think about maybe 5 and 9 as a combination if you're struggling with flight. Don't necessarily have to go for the conventional 3 and 5 wood. Drop the lofts maybe a little to help with the ball flight. Remember, the upright setting on this is the loft that's on the club head, just a little bit more closed. So if you're getting good trajectory from these, swap the head around, swap the hosel around to the UPR setting, and that will help to get the little bit more draw on the ball, but keep the loft as is. It's my real get up quickly, get it out there. Really good head for this season. Next, we've got the core model. So where am I using this? Well, okay, this is a little bit of a deeper profile in the face, so the face is a little deeper, and the weight on this is actually moved up and towards the face. So this is a club head that I'm using if I have a decent enough speed on the ball, where I'm getting decent enough flight and I want to move the CG a little closer or adapt it so that I can change the spin ratio to get the ball to maybe bore out a little more. I'm going to talk about shafts for the heads in a minute, but let's do the heads first and the shafts second and probably make more sense to everybody. Don Workshop will be able to customize these. So we can actually change these weights in here to suit not only the balance weight and swing weight of the club, but I can also finitely tune the spin. So if I want to get a little bit less spin, I'll use a heavier weight in there. If I want to get a little bit more spin, I might lighten that weight in there. It'll just help to maybe dial in the flight that I'm looking for. Comes in 3 and 3HL, 5 and 7. The 3HL in this head is superb. If you want something that's got a little bit of a deeper profile, that you want to try and get the ball to fly a little more, I use 3HL quite a bit. I use actually 3HL and 7 wood in the core model quite a lot because that's the kind of flight that I'm looking for. I'll just move the loft a little. Again, hosel adaptation this year in this club head, which is brilliant because this is the kind of head where I might just want to open or close the club head a little bit based on how I want the shaft to work with the club. It's also, if I've got a little bit of path issue, I can actually open or close the face on this club to get a little bit of a better hit. This is a better fairway wood if you tend to hit a lot more 3 woods off the tee. The Max model is a little bit low profile. Granted, you could tee a little lower, but I find this is a better club if you want a backup for the driver. You want something that hits solid off the tee. Go for the core head and then adapt the hosel and that weight in front if you can get it built for you to suit that type of flight that you're looking for. The third head is the Thai Tour. This is a really, really good club head if you're high speed. So if you've got a lot of club head speed, you generate a lot of flight on the ball, and you want something that flattens out the trajectory and something that you can really dial into in terms of the exact calibration, this is a club head that I would use. This is a strong player's club. It's if I'm looking to get the ball flight flatter in the air, if I'm looking to control the amount of spin on the ball, or if I'm looking to try and really dial into a good striker of the ball, then I'll use this club head. Again, adaptation in the hosel, brilliant, because this is the kind of club head where I really want to work on how that club head, number one, sets up at address, but also how I want to maybe angle the club head based on the way that I want it to come out based on the player's profile. It's got 2 weight systems. The weight at the back is multi-adaptable. So this is really where I will start to really get finitely dialed into the way that I want this ball to come out from a launch perspective, but I'll also tie it into the front weight to try and maximize my spin rate based on my loft setting. That weight is actually flippable, so you can actually flip that around and I can change where that weight is actually positioned in the club head, which has because it's 40 grams of weight, it's where I can really pull center of gravity towards where I want it in the club head so that I can work on keeping that spin rate. If you're a slightly higher handicapper or you struggle to get the ball into the air, you can still use this club head because you just got to move that weight right to the back, but because of its profile and the way that it's designed, it's not really the best club for getting the ball to fly. You can adapt it to do that, but you might want to look at the Max. I'm using this club head for better players, more for stronger strikers, and as I said, more for dialing in the exact spec. Okay, shafts. Well, obviously in that Thai Tour head, I'm using heavier weights, tending to be up in the 80 grams, 75 grams. They're using a Mitsubishi product in there as a standard shaft. It's pretty good, but it has a high launch parameter. If you're trying to control launch angle, you might want to look at something that maybe has a slightly more mid to low launch with this. But again, the real important part here that I find from fitting is I'm matching the shaft to the way that the golfer is actually swinging. So matching the load, matching the way that the shaft is operating through impact, then I'm tying the club head into that, and then I'm basically bouncing one off the other to control my launch parameter, and then I'm finitely dialing in my face angle and my weights then to get my spin rate just right to maximize my distance and then create the gapping between the fairway woods or hybrids or irons or whatever my next line is. So I'm really using that to get really finite, which is where it's more suited for that kind of stronger ball flight player or better ball striker maybe, that I can then control the flight. Have used lighter weight in this, but it tends to be for that stronger person that I want to try and keep balance in it. The core head tends to be mostly 60, 65 grams to be honest, but I have used lighter weight in it. It's more of a mid-weight shaft, but more of I'm actually using a slightly softer tip profile, so a bit of a mid-launch, mid to high with this, trying to get the ball to obviously fly, but I don't want it to get too high, because again, I'm using the different loft settings to control my pitch. Now with the adjustability, it means I can open and close the face, which is fantastic from a fitting perspective, but maybe think about more stiffer than regular in this. This is kind of where you want the club head a little bit more stable. You want to maybe use it off the tee as a backup for the driver. So create more of a stable program around the core head and then pick the lofts that you want again to suit your gapping. Make sure that you're not getting stuff too close together. Spread it out so that you get the right type of distance spacing. That Max head, I'm going lightweight, 50 grams, 45 grams in some case. KBS have a great shaft called the HL. It's a high launch product, it's quite lightweight. Love using it in this because it gets the ball up quickly with the shaft, then up again with the actual club head, so makes the 3 wood much more adaptable to the golfer. Keep it soft with this. Keep the shaft softer on the tip if you're struggling to flight the ball. The regulars, the A-flexes, they're using the Fujikura airspeed in this thing. It's not a bad shaft for that, to be fair. It's nice and lightweight. Maybe tinker around it to get that right type of balance. Remember, if you're going to go lightweight, you might want to go a little firmer in flex because you need to kind of keep this club head together. Even though it is high MOI, it's very balanced. You don't want the shaft to allow the club head to be moving around too much because it'll make it harder to control, and also dial in that hosel to make sure you're getting the best from the way that the club head shapes. Thanks again for everybody for the comments. Thanks so much for the subscribes. We've had a lot of subscribers come on board, which is brilliant. If you're new to the channel, you're very welcome. Don't forget to stick in the comments below any videos you want me to shoot, any products you want me to test, and what I'll do is I'll get to those, we'll shoot those for you and get that content that you need. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you at the next video. Cheers.